7 fragile words. Quiet, trembling, almost swallowed by the sharp autumn breeze that swept through the streets of Portland. Stephen Scott never imagined that a single afternoon, when he thought would be ordinary, peaceful, predictable, would become the turning point of someone else's life and eventually his own. It began like any other slow October day. Stephen sat on his favorite bench outside the Corner Bean Cafe, the rough wooden slats familiar beneath him, his black coffee warming his palms. The cafe had become his refuge, a place where he could breathe deeply and think without interruption. Inside, his sister Lisa was having her weekly Annie Day with his daughter, Zephyra, a tradition carved out of love and a bit of necessity. Being a single father meant breaks were rare, but Lisa insisted he take at least one every week. Autumn leaves swirled along the cobblestone sidewalks, glowing honey gold under the rare bursts of sunlight that managed to slip through Portland's trademark gray clouds. Stephen watched them dance, watched the world move around him, watched life exist peacefully around his stillness. He didn't know his peace was about to fracture. He felt her before he saw her, someone standing close, too close for coincidence. He turned, expecting maybe a tourist asking for directions. Instead, he found a young woman, thin to the point of fragility, her blonde hair twisted into a messy bun that looked like it had given up halfway through being styled. But it was her eyes that hit him hardest, hazel, enormous, shimmering with a grief so raw it almost made him flinch. Her lips parted, trembling. "Excuse me," she whispered. "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you give me a hug, please?" Stephen actually blinked. Twice. Of all the things he'd been asked in life, money, directions, spare phone chargers, someone once begged him to help chase a runaway ferret, he had never, ever been asked this. The confusion must have flickered across his face because she immediately recoiled, tears rising fast. "Sorry," she blurted, already turning away. "That was stupid. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry." "Wait." Stephen stood quickly, nearly spilling his coffee. "Hey, wait." She froze, shoulders curled inward as if bracing for impact. Up close, she looked like a person made of glass. One wrong word and she'd shatter. "Are you okay?" Stephen asked gently. That was all it took. Her face crumpled. Her breath hitched. And then, "No," she whispered. "I'm really, really not." Her voice cracked like breaking porcelain. She swallowed hard, trembling. "I haven't had a hug in so long," she said, shame thickening her words. "And you looked kind, safe. I thought maybe, just maybe, you'd say yes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked." She looked like she expected him to laugh at her, to walk away, to confirm whatever story the world had convinced her of, that she didn't deserve kindness. Stephen didn't think. He just opened his arms. "Come here." Her breath caught. For a heartbeat she hesitated, and then she stepped into him. The moment their bodies met, she collapsed, not physically, but emotionally. Her frame shook as she cried into his chest, her arms curling around him with a desperation that made Stephen's heart ache. She weighed almost nothing. She trembled like a leaf barely hanging on to a branch. Stephen held her carefully, the way he held his daughter when nightmares dragged her sobbing into his arms. He said nothing. Sometimes silence was the most powerful comfort. When she finally pulled away, wiping her face with shaking hands, embarrassment flooded her cheeks. "That was inappropriate," she choked. "I don't know what I was thinking. I swear I'm not crazy. I'm just going through something. My name is Eclipse," she added, voice barely steady. "Eclipse Porter, and I don't usually ambush strangers for hugs." Despite everything, Stephen smiled. "Stephen Scott," he said, "and for the record, you don't seem crazy. You seem like someone who needed a hug." Something fragile flickered in her eyes. "Would you like to sit?" he offered. "You don't have to tell me anything, but I've got about 25 minutes and 2 working ears." Eclipse stared at him like she couldn't believe he was real. Then she sat. What came next was a story he would never forget. Eclipse never looked up while she spoke. Her fingers twisted together in her lap, knuckles white. "Today is exactly 2 years since my life ended. She began. Or changed. I don't know what to call it anymore." She told him everything. The double nursing shift in Seattle. 16 hours on her feet. The quiet pride of helping a patient finally stand on their own again. The red light at Pine and Fifth. The drunk driver who slammed into her going 60. The crushing metal. The screaming pain. The certainty she was going to die. But she didn't die. Instead, she woke up in a hospital with shattered vertebrae, a broken pelvis, nerve damage, and a future held together with screws and titanium plates. She told him about the surgeries. 3 for her spine, 2 for her pelvis. The humiliating process of learning to walk again. The debt that kept growing and growing. $73,000 in climbing. She told him about calling her parents from the hospital, begging for help, only to hear, "You made your choices. Live with them." She told him about the husband who walked away 3 months later, unable to handle her new limitations, which was polite language for her pain was inconvenient. She told him about the friends who faded away, the isolation, the grief of losing not just mobility, but identity. And finally, she told him the worst part. "I realized this morning," Eclipse whispered, "that I haven't been touched in 2 years. Not hugged, not held, not anything. I felt like I was disappearing." Tears streamed down her face again. "I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe I'd just walk until I couldn't anymore. Then I saw you, and you looked kind, and I was so tired." Stephen's throat tightened. He knew that look, that exhaustion, that emptiness. So he told her his story. His wife, Michelle, 31, healthy, vibrant, gone in seconds from a hidden heart defect. He told her about becoming a single father overnight, grieving while trying to explain death to a toddler. The friends who pulled away because grief made them uncomfortable. The loneliness that felt like a second death. Eclipse listened with her whole heart, her eyes softening. "How did you survive?" she whispered. "My daughter saved me," Stephen said simply. "And helping other people heal helped me heal too." And just like that, some invisible thread tied them closer. Then the cafe door burst open. "Daddy." Zephyr barreled out like a rocket. Curls bouncing, smile wide enough to warm the whole city. Lisa followed, laughing so hard she wiped tears from her eyes. Stephen scooped Z into his arms. But when Eclipse came into view, the little girl froze, then grinned. "Hi, I'm Zephyr. I'm 6 3/4. Are you Daddy's friend? Do you like dinosaurs?" Eclipse blinked. Then she laughed, a sound rusty but beautiful. It was the first Rail laugh Stephen had seen from her. Minutes later, Zephyr invited Eclipse to the park. Stephen was about to intervene, but Eclipse said softly, "I'd love to." They fed ducks until the sun dipped low. Eclipse's smile slowly became less sad. Zephyr claimed Eclipse as her new, almost family. Something warm and dangerous bloomed in Stephen's chest. He didn't stop it. Weeks passed, then months. Coffee meetups became routine. Park trips became tradition. Zephyr adored Eclipse. Stephen trusted her more than he meant to. Eclipse softened, laughing more, crying less, finding pieces of herself again. Stephen helped with her groceries, her medical appointments, the pain that flared on rainy days. Eclipse braided his daughter's hair, helped with homework, reminded him about appointments, soothed childhood fears with the patience only someone who has known deep hurt can carry. They became, without planning to, important to each other, maybe even necessary. On one crisp afternoon at the park, Stephen realized something quietly terrifying. He was falling in love with her. And judging by the warmth in Eclipse's gaze when she looked at him, she might have been falling too. But life has a cruel habit of showing up uninvited. And it did. 5 months after that first hug, on a normal evening of spaghetti sauce and laughter, the doorbell rang. Stephen opened it to find his late wife's parents on the porch. And nothing after that would be the same. The storm outside continued to gnaw at the night, thunder rumbling like an unseen giant pacing across the heavens. But inside that lonely bedroom, the little girl wasn't thinking about storms, lightning, or the way her window rattled with every gust. She was thinking about the man who had put those bruises on her arms, about the woman who used to protect her before she disappeared, and about the message she had just sent, the one she knew she would pay for. Her thumb hovered over phone screen, already cracked and dim. Delivered, not seen, Not typing, just delivered. She hiccuped on a sob, clutching the phone in her chest as if holding it tight might make the world stop falling apart. Her legs pulled up to her chest. She curled into the far corner of her bed, too afraid to move, too afraid to breathe too loudly, and yet praying for anyone to reach her. Downstairs, she heard the front door slam. Her blood ran cold. "Oh, no! Oh, no!" she whispered, her voice trembling as she wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. "He's home." Heavy footsteps echoed through the house, unsteady and slow, each one a warning. The kind of footsteps she had learned to count, memorize, fear. A man drowning in liquor didn't walk. He lurched, and tonight he was worse than usual. A floorboard creaked. Another step. Closer. She covered her mouth to muffle her breaths. "Lily!" The deep voice roared from the living room. "Where are you?" She shut her eyes tight. "Please don't come up. Please don't come up. Please don't." A foot hit the first step. Her chest tightened painfully as she pressed herself deeper into the corner. He was climbing, one step at a time. Slow, angry, drunk. The house seemed to shrink around her. Walls closing, air thinning. Her phone buzzed. She flinched so violently it nearly slipped from her hands. A message. Her breath caught. She turned the screen, praying it wasn't him. Unknown number. "I got your message. I'm coming." Her heart stopped. Then it slammed back to life. She knew that number. Everyone in town did. Because only one man owned something as dangerous as the reputation attached to those digits. The man everyone feared. The man everyone obeyed. The man who once held her mother's loyalty and maybe, just maybe, still cared. Her uncle, a mafia boss, and the only person left who might save her. Another step creaked downstairs. "Lily!" His voice was closer now, slurred, hungry for control. She shoved the phone under her pillow and moved to the opposite side of bed, the old mattress trembling beneath her. Her small fingers clutched the wooden headboard. The doorknob rattled. Her heart exploded in her chest. "Why is this locked?" he snarled. "Open this damn door." She scrambled backward, shaking uncontrollably, a whimper slipping out before she could stop it. The doorknob twisted harder. Metal scraped. A fist slammed against the wood so violently dust fell from the hinges. "Open it." She slapped her hands over her ears. A crash of thunder shook the sky. And then, bang! The door flew open, splintering at the hinge as her father shoved his way in. His eyes, bloodshot and furious, locked onto her. "There you are." She froze. He took one step inside, and that step was enough to send her entire world collapsing. But then, headlights swept across her window. A car screeched into the driveway. Doors slammed. More than one. And for the first time in hours, the little girl felt air fill her lungs. Her father turned sharply toward the window. "What the—" Boots thundered up the porch. Voices barked orders. The front door downstairs was kicked in so hard the walls shook. Her father paled. "No, no, 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 why is he here?" A chill rushed through her. Her father stumbled backward, panic flickering across his face. He ran toward the stairs, but didn't get far. A shadow stepped into the hallway. A tall, dark figure with eyes sharp enough to cut through bone. Her uncle. Behind him stood two men in black coats, his right hand and his enforcer. The hallway was silent, deadly. The little girl couldn't breathe. Her father swallowed hard, backing away, raising both hands. I didn't. She's lying, I swear." Her uncle didn't even blink. "What did you do to her?" His voice was soft. Too soft. The kind of softness that came before a storm far worse than the one outside. Her father stuttered, "S.H. she's my daughter." "That wasn't what I asked." Her uncle took one step forward. Her father bolted, but he didn't get far. A single command rang out. "Stop him." An enforcer moved like a shadow. A scream tore through the house. The little girl covered her ears again as her uncle walked into her room. The moment he saw her bruises, something inside him snapped. Quiet, subtle, but lethal. He knelt beside her bed. "Lily." Her name sounded different in his voice. gentle, careful, as if saying it too loudly might break her. "Did you send that message?" She nodded, tears spilling again. He didn't ask anything else. Didn't need to. He rose slowly, his jaw clenched in a way that made even the walls seem afraid of him. "Take her to the car," he told his right-hand man. "Wrap her in a blanket. Don't let her see anything." The man nodded and gently scooped her up. Lily grabbed her uncle's sleeve as she was carried past him. Her voice cracked through her tears. "Do not leave me." For a moment, the powerful mafia boss, the man who could silence entire syndicates with a single order, felt his heart fracture. He rested a hand on her head. "I'm not going anywhere," he promised quietly. "You're safe now." But behind his calm tone lurked a storm far more violent than the thunder outside. A storm meant for the man who hurt her, and for whoever made Lily believe she had no one left to run to.